right. Indeed, a very, very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us this edition of The Tackle. This is the State of the Nation, being the 27th of July 2021, tarehe 27 mwezi wa 7 mwaka 2021. Natumai kwamba uko salama, umeamka vizuri na umeenda kazini. Kama unaenda kazini kama sisi unaenda ofisini, natumai kwamba tayari ushafika ofisini. Kama ni mtu wa jua kali, kama kazi ni kazi, wera ni wera, boka ni boka. Natumai kwamba tayari ushafika pale kazini, uanze kupiga hustle na kutafuta riziki ya siku. Kama kawaida, I request that when you join, please like. When you like, I get to know that you're watching us. And that you like, please share. When you share, you give someone else an opportunity to wide the broadcast. This is The Tackle and it begins now. Lakini kama kawaida, kabla tujaanza lazima tuende mbele za Mungu tuombe, alafu tukirudi na kuja kuwapa salamu zenu, alafu basi tunaingia kazi ndani. Tuko na jamaa anaitwa WEKE. Okay. Mara yake ya kwanza leo kwenye tackle, lakini is a tackler on the street. Na tuko na daktari kama kawaida, daktari OJWANG, DUNCAN OJWANG, bali dini wa sheria na pia siku hizi amekuwa mwanasiasa. Hivyo anacheza namba ngapi? Anacheza midfielder.
Wrong information.
Yeah, good to see you daktari. Since umeanza tayari na denying, tutatuanzia na maombi.
Yeah.
Tuambie.
Fellow listeners, you are not viewers.
Viewers and listeners.
On my way here, I was listening to a song kuwa Mungu atakushika na mkono wake wa kiume. That sounded very encouraging.
But is it not
fungua madirisha?
Akwana ya kushoto itaenda wapi?
Ya kiume, of course it's an imagery. Wewe ujui poem ama proverb, misemo. So kiume inamaanisha ni mkono wa nguvu. So imagine ukishikiliwa na Mungu kwa mkono wa kiume. Na unajua, and that is why wahubiri huwa wakubali watu wanauliza maswali wakihubiri juu convert kama huyu anaweza kuja na swali lingine inapoteza roho mtakatifu. Hebu tuombe wa Kenya, tuombe. Bwana, asante kwa asubuhi njema, asante kwa kutupa uhai, pumzi hii ya uhai. Hata wakati huu ambao mambo ni magumu, tunajua kuwa umekuwa ni kimbilio kwetu. Asante kwa kutuahidi kuwa utatushikilia kwa mkono wa kiume, utayafungua madirisha na utatupa mibaraka. Hebu Bwana uturuhusu hata tukitatua na tukiongea kuhusu mambo tofauti, utupe hekima na utupe neema, ushikilie wasikilizaji popote walipo, pia uwape na mibaraka zako hata katika hiki kituo. Bwana, tuomba kuwa uinue na uzidi kuwapa neema, kwa jina la Yesu naomba, amina.
Amen. It's a very powerful prayer, especially in Swahili. Kalenjins and Luos have the same problem. Swahili.
No, mimi sina shida na Kiswahili bwana.
Nimeona wewe Kiswahili yako iko chonja. Weke haezi ongea Kiswahili.
Katika mtihani wa kitaifa ya form 4 nilikuwa na alama ya nafikiria nzuri sana ya Kiswahili kuzidi hata Kiingereza.
Form 4 inaitwa aje kwa Kiswahili?
Kidato cha 4.
Ara kweli kwa sawaya kwa hiyo kimoi Baba Fidel na kuwa nasema good morning General Bitok watching live from Kipkelion, East Kericho County. Asante sana Matekans anasema Alex Eldoret tuko sawa. Dan Maverick anasema very good morning to one and all. Ngong is watching. Asante sana Babake Willy, good morning live following from KSA. Babake Willy, nataka kujua KSA ni gani? Nimesikia mara mingi sana KSA sijui ni wapi. Haya, Baba Fidel anasema good morning General Bitok watching live from Kipkelion. Asante sana, nimeona hiyo. Emmanuel Serem, morning General Bitok, good morning to my brother, good to see you, hope you're well. Kahemba Wandambusi tuned in #Tackle. Asante sana Karoki wa Masi watching from Kayona and welcome Bwana Weke. Haya, karibisheni Weke. Felix Kipkweja anasema niko ndani. Asante sana Chep Kosgame Milimani Road, good morning. Emmanuel Serem mamamsha Kiblimo Road kwa Moses Kebenenyi Ganet Kicks Lel Rotich na ujamsha leo Cheptap Kibrir na Leonard Serem all the way from Australia. Ogege Tom Franklin M Onchiri, good to see you my brother Ogeke. Kwa Chip Kemoy says good morning, I can see that. David Kamau, good morning Gerald watching from Diaspora, good to see you my brother. Diaspora sijui wapi pale, that's what David Kamau, but good to see you. William Wangi, good morning team, good to see you my brother. Maria Skipkirui tuned in from Nairobi Kenya. Moses Kotud, good morning. #Tackle. Lagat Kiprono Digson, good morning watching from Mombasa. Munga Alito continua. Morning team tackle tuning in from Coventry, United Kingdom. Looking forward to this morning State of the Nation edition. Morning team tackle tuning in from Coventry, United Kingdom. Looking forward to this morning State of the Nation edition. Asante sana ndugu yangu Munga Alito continue all the way from Coventry, United Kingdom. Mayara Kibunja, good morning watching from Kilifi. Good to see you my brother Desi, my team. Good morning to tackle Mheshimiwa Utawala. So good morning tackle. Say hi to Weke. He's my guy, served together somewhere as BOM. Very resourceful fella. Okay.
Endorsement
imeanza. Haya. Eba Jeff Kemai, mheshimiwa alikuwa mara kwenda kuona. CK Cheriot Kevin CK niko Ravin Town, asante sana watu wa Ravin. Fatma Omar watching from Mombasa. Good to see you my sister Fatma. Dennis Okomeiri ndani, good to see you. Steven Sorobit. Dr. DUNCAN OJWANG, kweli Mungu anatushika na mkono wake wa kiume. Asante sana. Moses Waweru Irungu. Good morning General Bitok, ready to hear from Weke, mtetezi wa baba. Lakini ajue kazi ni kazi, wera ni wera, mboka ni mboka. Haya, hiyo kazi pia kutetea baba bado ni kazi. What's up, Kamau? Bishop, what's up? Good morning, GB. Good morning to you, my brother. Good to see you. Cynthia Koech watching live from Melgeo Marakwet. Chumba Kipto Ian. Cleophas Kigen ameitwa. Bobby Kibera anxiously waiting for the show from Chepkoilel. Great to see you. Asante sana. Collins KE. Good morning to tackle. Good to see you, my brother Rotich Kenneth. Morning from Baraton. Collins Kiprotich, good morning. Gerald tuned in from Cabernet, Kenya. Asante sana, the Duke of Cabernet. Nyakwar Jesse, 27th. Yeah. Oh, tarehe 17. Okay. 27th. July. Jepkwan K. Gideon. Morning kiongozi Sydney Kiblimo Langat. Good morning Gerald Bitok. Namusha my wife Naomi Rotich. Amusha bibi. And my daughter Nazaria Jeff Kembai, napenda wote watching from me tena, asante sana. DK Cheboy, good morning sir. Tumeamka hustling as usual from Embu. Asante sana tu Embu. George Momanyi, good morning Bitok. George Momanyi Joska ni kupata sawa sawa. Asante sana tu Joska. Rohi Williams V, good morning Bitok. Tell Dol Mushend Wadiam is looking representative from Central Kenya. Noni Balem, so good to see you. Morning Gerald Bitok already on board. Asante sana Noni. How ulipona? Hope you well now. Raymond Chumba, good morning. Gentlemen watching from Cabo Moi Ben. Kevin Adonigan nimerudi watching live from Alaska, uko mbali kabisa. Watu wa Alaska, asante sana. Good to see you diaspora guys. Keep watching for Cabernet. Karibisha Weke. Okay. Telangat Merin, morning watching from Westlands. Collins Azaba, good morning. Gerald watching live from Konoin. Bomet Ezra Mayo, good morning to you. Gerald falling from Doha, Qatar. Arabaretod Kibet, and someone bought from Kirinyaga. Kibor Lagat, good. Karen Bito, good to see you. And someone good morning watching from Kakamega. Watu sana tu Waluya wa Kakamega. Chris Tangut, where have you been and what is the way forward political? Watching from Utawala. Good to see you. Tangut, this is swali. Senior Senor Wako, good morning sir. From Westlands. Wajiona Smith watching from Bomet, Konoin sub-county. Good to see you guys. It's a pleasure to have you. This is the State of the Nation edition, being the 27th of July 2021, tarehe 27 mwezi wa 7 mwaka 2021. This is a tackle that begins now. Anaanza na Weke jambo.
Safi sana.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, my brother.
Finally you're here.
Mimi kwanza I want to say I'm very impressed with what I've seen.
Asante.
Unajua nakutanaga tu nawe kwa street. Kama hii ndio mboka ni mboka.
Ni mboka kweli.
Wera ni wera. I must say I'm very very impressed.
I appreciate it, brother.
Na kama hii watu yenyu ya kazi ni kazi. Wanafaa wa invest kwa hii.
Watu wa gani? Wewe sitaki wanasiasa kwa kazi yangu. Sitaki wanasiasa.
Nasema akina Duncan.
Kina nani? Duncan is akina Duncan is
akina Dr. Ojwang.
Kama Dr. Ojwang is sawa. Dr. Ojwang is a certified philanthropist. But it's good to see you. Finally you're here.
Thank you.
We've been ngangara kutafuta mwaka mzima.
My apologies, my brother.
Omba msamaha watu wa Taklas juu alinituma.
You know, Bitok has been on my case. Ni vile nimekuwa busy kidogo hapa na pale. But today I'm here.
Yeah, finally.
And I'm happy to speak to here. Dr. is calling them listeners. I'm happy to speak to the viewers. Because I know they are viewing us on
kwa mitandao.
Yes.
Sawa, maybe wasalimia na ujintroduce wewe mwenyewe. Sema unafanyanga nini, wewe ni nani?
Mimi, my name is Brian Weke. Mimi ni mtetezi wa walala hoi. Wale hawana kazi.
Wewe uko na kazi?
Kazi yake ni kazi ya wale hawana la kazi.
Kazi yake ni kazi ya wale hawana kazi.
So and I'm a lawyer by profession.
Okay.
Na nimefanya kazi ya kutetea haki za watoto miaka mingi. I have been in the civil society for over 15 years, fighting for the rights of women, human rights and the rights of the child.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hapo ndio umekuwa ukipigania haki yao.
Haki hao the voiceless in the society.
Wewe ndio unawapea sauti.
Mimi ndio nawapatia sauti kidogo.
Na ulikuwa manamba pia. Ulikuwa unapiga manamba wapi?
Yes, mimi ukiongea mambo ya hustle. Nilianza kule Eastlands. Unajua hii hustle si atini yake na hawa wamekojia juzi. Hustle ni system hii yetu sisi watu wa Eastlands. Mahali tumepitia. Of course nikimaliza shule class 8 mimi nilianza kazi ya makanga. Na nilikuwa nalipwa, nafanya kazi kwa matatu, najilipia shule. Nafanya kazi kwa matatu, najilipia shule. And the rest
so umejisomesha
is history. Yes.
Haya. Mzungu umeasol kweli. Unajua? Good morning sir.
Morning. Yes sir.
Watu wamesema waache kuwaita listeners they are tacklers. Wamesema anaitwa tacklers.
Fellow tacklers. Yeah. I withdraw
and apologize. No, they are tacklers indeed. Yeah. So wasalimia hata unajua umepotea. When is the last time you were here? 2 weeks?
When Kigame was here?
2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Fellow tacklers. Good morning.
They've said good morning back. Yeah. What is the state of the nation, Ojwang?
The state of the nation. Could we have our guest go first?
Okay. WEKE, what's the state of the nation?
Out of politeness.
You know, I'm just listening to Daktari. And he says it's been a long time since he was here.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
I'm just wondering whether he's also a moderator. 2 weeks.
He's my right wing man.
Looks like. So I think clearly it would be important for him to give us the picture. Then we can have the discussion.
But you have the nation. You are the one who is going to give us the state of the nation. You have a nation.
Of course, I can see.
What's going on? What do you think is where is the nation? Uchumi, siasa.
Oh. First of all, I can see from the headlines, around 45% of teachers are not yet vaccinated.
Yeah.
And yet, when the vaccine came, they said that we will start with people who are in the front line.
Yes.
And more so, the people who are charged with the responsibility of taking care of our children. So 45% not being vaccinated for me is a major deal because you can imagine today our schools are opening. I've just taken my kids to school and 45% of teachers are not vaccinated. So that is a very serious cause for alarm. As regards politics, I can see realignments happening.
Ndio siasa imeanza sasa.
Ndio siasa ndio inaanza. When I hear people saying that it is a fait accompli, it is not. Ndio siasa inaanza. I have said in the past and I will say it now that Jubilee served its purpose in the last general election. NASA as well served its purpose in the last general election. So as we speak, everybody is seeking a seat at the table. And everybody is strategizing to be formidable, to be called to that table. So I can tell you for a fact, still I hear people chest thumping that they have already won the election. My friend, 1 day in politics is such a long time. I remember when Mwangi Kiunjuri, when Kibaki renamed a cabinet, he went to State House. He was told he was a full minister. I think then it was, which ministry was it? He called a few friends. They went for a cup of coffee. They celebrated. When the cabinet was named the next day, he was reduced to an assistant minister. So I can tell you for a fact, 1 day in politics is such a long time. Kabogo was leading until 6 months to election. There was one propaganda that he spoke ill about the women of Kiambu. That was it. So I can tell you for a fact, in terms of politics, this is the season for people going on loan, for transfer window, people being bought, people joining certain formations. So that is where we as a country.
There's a market.
It is a market.
Kuna soko.
Ni soko, ni time ya soko. Leo ndio ile unakuaga kama huko kwenye mnakuaga na soko, on Thursday, siku ya soko. Ndio hizi imeanza sasa.
Imefunguliwa.
Soko imefunguliwa.
Wewe unaona ukiingia wapi kwa transfer window?
Hapana, sisi na Duncan tuko ni mapema. Tunapanga.
Ni wachanganuzi. Give us that big word.
Wachanganuzi.
Tunapanga. And let me tell you, if you do not plan well, then you're bound to fail. So, and every politician...
Anasema usipojipanga utapangwa.
Utapangwa. And I can see Central Kenya, they've actually, you know, this is the first time in history after 2002 that Central looks to be divided. Okay. And they know that it will be expensive. Members of Parliament know that if you go to an election with the two formidable parties, then it's going to be very expensive even for you as a member of Parliament. Because when you seek the Jubilee ticket, you go through a nomination. You invest on a nomination, and Duncan will tell you a story about nominations. They are not easy. So once you become a candidate for Jubilee, then there is a candidate again who has gone through a grueling process under UDA. And you meet again during election.
Head to head.
Head to head. It is not easy. So, and those are questions that all these members of Parliament are grappling with. You know, in the last dispensation, in Central or Rift Valley, when you get a Jubilee ticket,
you're done.
It is a fait accompli. You can actually go to Bahamas, have a holiday, or walk into Equity or KCB, whichever bank, and say, I have a nomination certificate, give me a loan. Security. Because they know when you are in Nyanza and certain parts of Western and the coast, when you have an ODM ticket, you can actually walk into a bank. Now, in Central as we speak, that will not be the case. Okay. Because again, upon getting those two political parties certificates, you cannot walk into a bank to ask for a loan because they don't know who will become the member of Parliament.
The member of Parliament.
Absolutely.
Hi, OJWANG.
Yes, sir.
You're ready to dive in with the State of the Nation.
Asante. One, I
speak to your mic, please, and maybe first
yes.
come on.
And look at the fans, tackle us straight on the face or eyes.
Straight.
So I think it is time. All the rest have been dress rehearsals. Things are ripening at a faster rate. As they say in my place, if we didn't have fools, who will buy rotten bananas in the market? So in every economy,
we need fools.
we need very functional, as a functional way, because you might be a dealer. Your banana is rotten. I hope the banana is not a symbol of any party, because I'm talking metaphorically, not specifically to any
you
party.
might land in trouble.
Yeah. But then you find yourself selling them. My question to Brian will be, does NASA and Jubilee, do they need rebaptism, rebirth, new beginning, repackaging? To what extent should their engine overhaul come to? But again, I'm seeing something interesting in Kenya. You know, we are in pandemic. People are getting more resilient. I don't think people are putting their guards down as much. People are just getting a little more resilient. But I'm seeing a conversation on economy. I'm seeing former Prime Minister Raila's bringing solutions or articulations on what could be the economic solution. This proves how bad the economy is now. And
It's an acceptance of the state of the economy.
Yeah, it has caught everybody's attention. Mudavadi has also his corner on articulating the issues of economy. The hustlers are claiming that they are the architects of bottom-up economy. Economy is theirs. Mudavadi also was kind of planning to run on economy because every time he makes a tweet out of it, say number 1 is economy, number 2 is economy, number 3 is economy. Raila's moved to that conversation. So I think the conversation is important, and especially if we are going to have it without mutilating our constitution. It shows how much we can do and articulate without amending the constitution. So nobody, and even Sir John Bryan here has not suggested to them, here is a scapula and how we can cut this constitution. It is being have that this is what constitution provides. For example, yesterday, somebody wrote back to the hustler nation from the ODM side and said, devolution is actually bottom-up economy.
It is.
And I agree with them 100%. Because structurally, the principle of subsidiarity, the decision should be made at the lowest level. That the decision, the public participation and the budgeting and the priority of development should be made at the lowest level. So people are waking up and are able to see through the constitution the great landmarks of this bottom-up economy that is not being pulled from a trick, a hat, or whatever. It is actually well articulated in the constitution. And now the chapters are being brought to life. The hustlers themselves are saying, okay, Article 43, this is where we get our impetus from the constitution, social economic rights. What do you call them? The constitution talk of social justice. That is our approach, and that is the foundation of our not bottoms up. When you say it like that, it becomes a very bad thing.
It looks like what Mudavadi was drinking.
And avoid the temptation. Yeah, well, so think about it. The constitution is always interpreted. Court have told us that the constitution, being a consensus document, they even did that in Mitubel recently, is always being rewritten through interpretation, through reading, given meaning, given life. So it is being given life and given legs to walk with through this different articulation of bottom-up. So I can see that as a good thing. Finally, I think we are seeing the things are tough. Kids are going back to school. There is a lot of reporting of parents not knowing what to do with their children. There is also that Gachagua was arrested on Friday. Yeah, he's out. There have been a few more arrests. We are also waiting for the decision on BBI by the Court of Appeal. There is, and so it is an exciting moment. Please don't let Corona take you away from this theater. Be here a little longer as a Kenyan and watch very exciting things.
All right. Now, the president begins his 3-day tour of the UK, and he's been doing a lot of international tours of late. And well, we wish him all the best, but the UK have said, first of all, get tested. You want your COVID test certificate.
Results, yeah.
Yes, and we'd want to wonder, all right, so what do we stand to gain from all these tours that he's been doing? Because there's no report on what he has been doing with these tours. He's done several of them lately. He was in France. He's been up and down. What are the gains?
First of all, before I move to the gains, I think Daktari asked me a question about whether what is needed is a rebranding or an engine overhaul of this political parties.
New birth.
Whether Jesus Christ needs to come and John the Baptist needs to come and baptize them. First of all, I must say that if you look at the history of this country, in 2002, Honorable Kibaki was elected on an ACT ticket. Yeah. The subsequent election, he was not elected on an ACT ticket. There was a new formation. He actually went ahead and brought in a number of political parties. They used to call them then Chama Tanzu, za PNU.
Vyama Tanzu.
And he was re-elected on a PNU ticket. Immediately he finished his term, PNU was done. And Uhuru Kenyatta created something called TNUA. If you remember, with a dove, and they say, I believe. Yes, and people believed. And then if you remember, when he was launching TNA, the deputy president for Uhuru Kenyatta was Eugene Wamalwa. No. Oh. Yes.
Really?
When they launched TNA in KICC, they were wearing white shirts. Eugene was wearing a white shirt. They had folded their sleeves and they presented something about young people. But when Masinema William Samoei Ruto created URP and threatened to run for president, when they sat on the table, he looked like he had more numbers than Wamalwa. So, and that is how Wamalwa was offered the position of speaker.
From the president to speaker.
To speaker. And eventually, of course, that discussion, and the rest is history. If you look at, again, after TNA and URP created a coalition, when they went back for election, they created, again, many political parties, brought them down, created something called Jubilee. And that Jubilee, again...
that's drunk water.
It has drunk water. Now, if you look at the opposition bit, when Raila ran the first time, he had something called CORD, Coalition on Reforms and Democracy. The monkeys still remain to be the same.
The forest.
The forest the same. It's just the name that changes. So I don't know whether that's really they had CORD. They changed the code to NASA. Now again, they are, as you can see, they're saying we are divorcing NASA. They are creating a new formation. So what happens in this country is not really baptism, and it is not really overhaul. They just play with the minds of Kenyans.
Pierre.
Because somebody was asking me whether a new guy like Dr. OJWANG can just come from nowhere and become president. The answer is no. That really can never happen. The same people are the ones who are going to govern us. It is the same names: Raila Odinga, William Ruto, Musalia Mudavadi, Kalonzo Musyoka, the likes of Akina Ekuro and Sijui Mulunya and Sijui, they don't stand a chance. Bitok, do not try to run for presidency now.
This is very
No.
microphone.
So as regards Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta going to the UK, I have attended a number of international fora, and it is amazing that the president is really respected internationally. I don't know whether it is the gimmicks or the PR, but the international community has a lot of respect to President Uhuru Kenyatta. I don't know whether it is because he decided to, when he was summoned by ICC, he decided to present himself. And when he was presenting himself, he was actually presenting himself as a citizen of this country. You remember the gimmick he played? He used economy class, handed over temporary power
for 24 hours.
For 24 hours to William Samoei Ruto. So I don't know, and you know the perception that the West has about Africa, that these African men, they don't hand over power easily. So that particular gimmick, I think, made him very popular with the international community. As regards that visit, of course, you know very well that we have had very strained relationship during this COVID period with the UK in terms of travel to the UK. As you can see, the EU has actually banned anyone who has been vaccinated with our AstraZeneca to actually, I don't know whether they're getting back at the UK or at us Africans. So basically, there are a lot of good things that we can discuss from that level. And of course, as you can see, we are still at 2% in terms of vaccination. So
2%.
yeah, 2% as a country. We're not doing too well. And for me, the priority, even as we look at the economy, is to vaccinate our people. We cannot create economy for people who are not going to be there. We need our people to be healthy. We need to ensure that our people are vaccinated. We need to beat this coronavirus so that we are ready for the next chapter of our lives. I like when Daktari says that do not die. Wait and see exciting things that are coming up in our country. So the not dying basically means that we have to protect and prevent our people from contracting the virus.
All right. Ojwang, on the same thing, and the question is, Ojwang, even as the president goes there, first of all, they have told him, test. We need your COVID test. Secondly, Kenyans are still barred from entering the UK.
Are they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's still restrictions on COVID restrictions on Kenyans. There's still the red, I don't know, the red, they call it the red flag or the red one.
Alert.
Right, the red alert on Kenyans. So, I mean, what do you make of this? And what do you make of any other international tours the president has been making recently?
You know, I come from a polygamous home. And I know when dad is in trouble in one home, he tends to visit a lot of friends. It's almost an impulse.
He remembers friends.
That as a man, when there's trouble at home,
You understand?
you remember, it's a while since I caught up with WEKE. What are you up to? To Kutane Java. And you become very, 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 you have a visiting spirit and checking everything else until things cool down, and then you can come back again. And maybe you hope they miss you this time. And then when so I feel that subconsciously I've looked at this pattern that whenever president is popularity is dwindling, ways are getting blocked, is getting frustrated, he finds a way of removing himself from the situation. And that situation being local. They say that nobody calls from Vegas unless they're in trouble. When usually people go to Vegas, they gamble, they find fun. They don't remember home. But when they're in trouble,
they remember home.
It's when they call, it means that maybe they have run out of money gambling or whatever. So one, I feel that president is leveraging. And I think some advisor just told him, you are frustrated. Take a walk.
Find some time.
Where? You know, the last tour I did in Ukambani didn't yield much. It looked like it didn't. He went to Coast. Coast is already part of Raila's base, but he was going to mobilize it for him. He has gone anywhere but Central, really. So he finds it easier to go to UK than to go to Kiamba. And so it is a sad state of affair. But again, you know, when you go there, have you made international trips or trips?
Yes, I've done.
Forget the high school trips.
No,
I'll take your answer for it. When you make those trips, especially as a head of state, you are spoiled because you get all the trapping of power. You work with international diplomatic immunity. You work with the assistants, the embassy, and so it is a good thing. He remembered, as Brian aptly put it, he showed a very good image on ICC, by the way. And the world was very happy. He did that except when it came to BBI, he forgot to relinquish his seat and be the promoter, not as President Uhuru, but as Uhuru the Citizen.
Kenyatta.
He fused them a little bit. And when he fused them, the court saw through that no, here you have mixed it. You had this good example. When you wanted to do something at a personal level, you relinquished power. Here you have mixed them. Those trips cannot be so bad. I don't think UK is being mean to him, because when you go there, you are going to meet, let's say, maybe the head of state. It is precaution. And I'm telling you, it's a cultural thing. When I was in the US, I called my teacher and say, I have a little flu, but being a good student, I'm coming to school. You know what the guy told me? Stay the hell away from school. Stay at home until you are fully recovered. I was like, what? Then I called my pastor. It was Saturday. Pastor, pray for me. I'm a little bit under the weather, but being a good member of Seventh-day Adventist Church, I will show up and show out and praise my Lord. You know what the pastor told me? Brother, stay at home. Very different. I was shocked. I mean, so you can see that when us here, kujisukuma is a good thing. You have diarrhea, but you still go to work. It's called presentness. Cozy. It's
called hustling.
Hustling. Haki ya mwisho alizidiwa lakini bado alikuja. Those are nonsense.
Marehemu alikuwa amezidiwa lakini alikuwa anakuja tu. Alikuwa kwa kazi.
Nonsense. You are not a good worker. You're just desperate. So those people are people who wake up, take their temperature and say, I think I have a little fever. I'm not coming. And they're told it's okay. Why? Because you go na hiyo ujirani mwema wako na hiyo kujisukuma and then you give all of us flu. Now, instead of one person missing work, there is now 50 people in this company, everybody with flu, some with mild, some with serious, whatever. It will take us maybe another 3 months. This thing go round and it goes around. We have children, they go to school. You know how it goes around. How have you been of help to us when you have shown up sick? So I don't think they're really being mean. They only that it's very natural there. Where you find, when have you heard in Kenya, like you're told the main speaker, maybe the politician could not come because he's a little sick. Yeah, when somebody's sick, they're really sick. ICU, oxygen, and everything.
They are talking.
Yeah, they are infectious disease they avoid. So I don't take offense to that. But I look at, you ask another very important question. What have we received from it? I think
look, we sent flowers.
Yeah.
This guy just snapped us still. Now we're doing a tour, we still have a red flag on us. We cannot travel to the UK.
Yeah, but you see,
how balanced is it?
If you do international relationship, it is clear that though we say every country is sovereign and there's equality of nations, we all know that in reality, those who pay the piper calls the tune, or those who pay the piper last, in our case, if it is China or Kenya. But this is the time.
The most immediate pair.
Right. Kenya, forget who pays the piper. Who pays me last? But be proud of the president, that this is the time he has gone without a begging ball. Because every time he shows up, he has a begging ball behind him, and either it is to the IMF or to China, or to China again and China again. So this time, or to French, this time, you know that friend who whenever you show up, you know they are coming to borrow money. Even if they start with the weather, you know it will end up. So this is the time we are not hearing mambo ya pesa. And that is not a bad thing.
It's commendable. All right, very quickly, Rigathi Gachagua was arrested. He was accused of 20-something billion. They called for shifting. And it was, at some point it was even 12 million. Yesterday it became 7 point something billion, and he was released on bail and bond. I don't know. What do you make of this, Weke?
I think
Some have argued that it's political witch hunt.
I think we need to be very careful. As a lawyer, I think I don't need to comment on the merits of the matter that is before court. But one thing for sure, if you look at the Gachagua case, and it was an issue of swindling the public money. So for me, I think I don't want to get into that discussion. If you stole people's monies, really, you have to be accountable.
Okay.
If you've been involved in a criminal act, regardless of whether you're supporting whichever side, whether you are in opposition, you are in government, you are in government negative, government deputy, you know, it does not matter. You ought to be accountable.
Okay.
And I think it has taken a long time. That matter has been aired a number of times. And for me, really, go through the criminal justice system. If you have nothing to answer, we will see. For now, we cannot discuss the merits,
of the case.
But the public that was swindled of their monies, really,
Allegedly.
somebody has to account.
Okay.
Whether it is Gachagua or any other person. You know, sometimes I wonder, us as Kenyans, when Daktari swindles the public, because he comes from Moma Bay, where I come from, then I mobilize people to really let us be accountable.
Okay.
Let us earn an honest living in this country. And let me tell you, Bitok, you see the way what we are doing here?
Yeah.
The idea that you came up with in this show, I saw the numbers that you have. Quite impressive. And it is not easy. Building such a business, it is not a joke. I'm actually extremely impressed. I used to think it was a juakali thing.
I'm sure utaacha kakitu kitoka.
No, I'm very impressed. And we want people to earn an honest living in this country.
Okay.
Let us not politicize that when you're arrested is when now you want to pull a political card. My friend, the issue is before courts. Tell the courts that you didn't do it. If you did it, if you're found guilty, carry your cross. We are not going to come here and support you just the mere fact because you're supporting somebody
from one area.
No.
But also, Weke, what are the dangers of us weaponizing institutions? Because when you talk about corruption cases, talk about KEMSA, that the president told us in 60 days, we'll see people being prosecuted. Talk about NYS. We've seen all these things happening. There seems to be a general feeling that it's one side of the political divide that is being targeted, especially at this point. Look at the guy, for instance. All these cases are counting back all the way when he was a system blue-eyed boy, you know. So now they're suddenly coming up, and you're finding the government is rushing very quickly to arrest this guy and put him in the cellars. What are the dangers as well of weaponizing institutions for political ends?
You know, something funny, and we've raised this before, Daktari, and I want you to listen to me keenly. We have raised over and over again issues of corruption in the Jubilee government, in the first term and in the second term. These guys were together. They know who stole what. They know who stole how much. They know who was the front. They know who was the guy behind. And that is the reason why you're seeing now, because wamekosana, they are now moving to different individuals. When the DPP was appointed, Haji, I think I have been on record, and Kenyans have been on record, saying that we have so much faith in him. Because for the first time we are seeing a director of public prosecutions actually delivering on their mandate. When Kinoti was appointed, forget his intonation and his language, the guy, the symmetry between the DCI and the DPP is quite impressive. And I think as Kenyans, we need to allow those institutions to undertake their mandate without politics, whether from government, or government without government. You know, there are people who are in government and they're not in government. So they're saying tuko lakini hatuko. Let us allow yani they wanakula mshahara, but they're saying unajua we are not there. Brian Weke is in government but he's nowhere. You know, let us not lie to Kenyans. If you're in government and you're earning a salary and you have security and you have motor vehicles and you have a motorcade, my friend, There is nothing short of you are in government.
You are in government.
Yes. You are earning a salary. We uko kwa serikali. So for me, I would urge DCI. I would urge the courts. I would urge different commissions. I would urge the DPP that people ought to undertake their mandate without being cajoled, without being forced to undertake that mandate. And that is how we build strong institutions in our country.
Okay.
You know, in the West, it does not matter who is the president. It does not matter whether there is a president or not. I was in Belgium for nearly 3 months. They had a stalemate. They did not have a president for nearly a year. Guess what?
The country was running.
I was there. I didn't even know there was no president. I didn't know there was no head of government. Because the institutions are so strong to the level where you don't need to know who the president is. And that is why I am very, very consistent that interfering with the independence of judiciary is an unnegotiable issue. Whether you are in government, whether you're in government or you are not in government, interfering with these independent institutions is non-negotiable. And when they undertake their role and their duties, do not castigate them. Yeah, so independence of institution is what builds a strong democracy.
Okay. We must process it. Hey, Ojwang, what do you make of the Gadi case?
Yeah, I think I agree with Brian that two wrongs that do not make a right. He's a defender of corruption in the legal system.
Defender of corruption or anti-corruption?
The defender is defending the allegation or the charge that is and we are using the word corruption very general, you know, because I saw the charge sheet. They are very specific, fraud and all that.
Yeah.
But so is a defender or accused. You know, in the legal system, there are three major parts. There is that judge who is supposed to be neutral and listen to both sides. There is the state, which also is made of their lawyers who will come to prosecute the case and meet both the burden of production and persuasion, showing that this is why we believe that this individual is involved in this manner and in this and this and that. Then there is the defense side. And both sides, the defense side are the ones who put what we call reasonable doubt. Are you sure? You're saying that you saw him, but today I see you have put on glasses and it was dark. Are you sure you saw him? That is also very important. The truth usually is in the middle. And no side, the whole makes justice. That the judge remains neutral. That the prosecutor do not become the defender attorney or bribe to bring a wishy-washy case, but bring a real case and put their soul in it. That the defense do their part. Then now, as a society, that's when we agreed that we can know the truth. So it is a fair process. There could be a little bit of the drama of how he was arrested. It could be done better because you don't want to also give any of the defender sympathy in the way you appear. The prosecution office are workers for justice. And that is why I expect them to even come to court when they see that the evidence is not sustainable to say, you know what, for the sake of justice, we are even withdrawing or saying that there is no charges that can stand. And when they come to court and say there is charges, then they have done their due diligence to know that. As finally, I think that it will be unfair, as I started to say, that you are wrong, I'm wrong, therefore nobody's wrong. Because two wrongs don't make a right. But at the same time, it is also fair to point at even as children, as we grew up, Bitok, you will say, but Brian hit the window with a ball. And I just saw you seated and you didn't say anything. But wait until I have hit the same window with the ball. My goodness, you think I murdered somebody. You have brought me, you are unanichuna kwa masikio. And even in the child's own language, they will find a way of saying, this is not fair. I don't know whether they will use the word fairness. But they will simply say no.
They'll express themselves in a way to suggest.
Yeah, but Nani did it. You know, we used to have a neighbor where depending on who has kicked the ball to his yard, he will detain it or release it.
Depending on
so,
who.
So he will come and we are all children and we will say, nani alipiga hii mpira? Ati ni mzee. Hii mpira mtaona.
Mzee ni wewe sasa.
Nani alipiga hii mpira? Ati ni nani hapa? Be careful. He throws it back. We all sense that this is not how justice is supposed to work. And at the end of the day, we just became clever. And so whoever kicks the ball, we will end up saying it is so and so, and we get our balls back. What were we looking at? We were looking at a corrupt system. We were looking at the lack of dispensation of justice and inequality.
You're not feeling fairly treated.
Yes, we reacted to that. So also, I feel sympathetic that anybody who points and say, wait a minute, this could be done better, are not necessarily enemies of justice. Or those who are saying, wait a minute, but Nani kicked the window and nothing was done. In fact, you went, you cleaned the glasses secretly, you changed and put other glasses, but when I've hit it, I've not even shattered it. I'm all over. You have called my parents. I have been suspended. So that is what we call natural justice, that the state should be above the fray. Now, if I was the prosecutor, I will wait 2 months after Kiamba. Because I know that I might have been an independent actor, but I should not be politically tone deaf. I should not play politics, but I should not be politically tone deaf. When I bring these charges so close to Kiamba, I might have a good case, but I'm giving this person sympathy. So I will wait for when there is peace and there is whatever, so that I don't appear to have been called. I don't appear to have been told, what do we do after this Kiamba? I think that is simply soft skill that every prosecutor will have, because there is no statute of limitation, and time is not running. Kenya is not running out. The hyenas not eaten the country, so that we are rushing against time. I didn't see a hyena eating Kenya, so that you must prosecute him this week. So those strategic reasons, I think a good prosecutor will say, let us give it time. Okay. There is a political charge. He was Nini. It might appear this way. It is not, but it might. I'll give you 6 months. Then I'll reign you in court. So when it happens, right at the heel of Kiamba, then it appears to be the revisit. Okay. It might not be. And you might lose. Case law is not science, where if you take a blood with malaria in it, whether you test it in each laboratory, it will come that it has plasmodium. Those are big words, man. Plasmodium. I didn't Google this. I went to school for this. Plasmodium. And I paid my degree in dollars. So plasmodium. I hope you are tweeting that.
That is tweetable.
It's tweetable. So law is a humanity. That means, and that is why you can find law is persuasion. Justice must not just be done, but what?
Must not be seen to be done, but must be done.
But must also be seen to be done, because it is the context, isn't it? So that when I bring a case so close to Nini and somebody says I'm being targeted and prosecuted, then I give them some few evidence, and that is sloppy. And so it means, as a prosecutor, either this file of yours was waiting, or coincidentally it tallied with the IBC date for by-election, and wakachana 2 week, within 1 week. So if Gachagua team will have lost Kiamba, will he have been prosecuted? Will have filed been complete? Will have the I's been dotted and the T crossed? Those are things that make people lose confidence in very important institutions, and they can't be watching.
But it's interesting because they're saying on a certain unknown date, unknown location. Everything is unknown on a charge sheet. All right. Now, Weke, the son of Sekuru has been in the news this week. First, there was a declaration that Kivuta Kibwana was now the comeback kickpin who's going to run for president. But anyway, Kalonzo is back again. He declares his priority. He's saying he's running for president and declares his priority that my first priority is beating William Ruto. He was on the news again yesterday. He has divorced Raila Odinga. He says he has divorced NASA. At some point, he said that he would rather die than work with Jubilee. The next, a few months later, they signed an agreement. What do you make of this? Does this then mean the official death of NASA? And NASA, which is not united towards 2022, what are the risks?
First, when I hear Daktari giving us the analogy of where they used to play football, and the man, depending on who kicked the ball, clearly that man knew that Daktari will not be a footballer.
He's wasting time.
Yeah, so that's why he could confiscate the ball. But there was a particular boy, maybe then Michael Koth, they used to play with. So the man knew this guy is going far. In the interest of this guy.
In the interest of the future of this guy. But then does that not question the question of natural justice?
And clearly, you're hearing Daktari's big words. You would not do well in football. Plasmodium. That basically means algae.
Wow.
So you can see clearly he had a different path. And this guy knew. As regards,
He was helping him.
He was helping him.
That is
He was
That is
redirecting.
mentorship. not really dispensing justice, but that was mentorship in a different way. As you can see, he's come. He's not just a Daktari. He has a doctorate in law.
And also, he's also a nurse.
Yes, so basically,
He pays his degree.
the guy really helped him.
$1.
Football angeumia sana hapo Mabe. Now, as regards the timing, again, we have to be very, very careful.
Okay.
I know Daktari is politically astute, and that is the reason why he's not the prosecutor. A DPP ought to deal with you as is and where is. Though you have to close yourself to those political issues. Imagine again you wait for another 6 months. We are going to elections. Really, when you have enough evidence, you've gathered proper evidence, then proceed regardless of the time. That I agree, and I'm not saying Nani is guilty regarding Gachagua, but I can tell you for a fact that any civil servant, and the doc went to school in the US, it is about service to the people.
Okay.
You cannot possibly have, even if you calculate his salary for all those years and the taxes that he has been paying, cannot correspond to what he has in his account.
Okay.
So clearly there is something amiss. That I will leave to the people to judge and the courts, because we have the courts of
So
public
you
opinion.
are biting and blowing.
No. I want the tacklers to tackle this in an intellectual manner. You cannot possibly, even this a whole Daktari who has gone to school and has a PhD in law and who paid his school fees in dollars.
In dollars.
You're hearing him say, check his bank account. He cannot move closer to where that guy is. There is something amiss in this country. And even as we empower young people, as we tell them that you can hustle from this level to that level, they have to understand that it is a process. It will not be a miracle. That abracadabra, nimezima macho, leo sina kesho.
Nimewasha iko.
I have 3 million. No, that is the wrong way of doing things. That is the wrong way of doing things. The issue of the son from Sekuru. I can tell you for a fact, and this one you can go and take it to your circle, that Kalonzo still remains the leader of the Kamba community.
Okay.
And what the son of Sekuru is doing, number one, in politics, you have to threaten that you're running. William Samoei Ruto is who he is today because he created URP, he mobilized the Kamatusa, he managed to get over 70 members of parliament, and he became a factor in Rift Valley. And how did he become a factor? Because he merely threatened to run for president. They said, no, this is not the time. He said, no, I am ready. The elders will find me on my way. You remember even the elders said, you know, we can, let's see how to. No, he said, no. I am running for president. I am ready. Everybody knew he was bluffing. But the mere fact that he threatened to run for president, that is how he became the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya. And you saw when they were being sworn in, the guy broke down. He cried because he didn't expect to become the deputy president. Alikuwa naisikia kwa viu sasa.
Ilikuwa abracadabra.
Ilikuwa tu ni abracadabra.
Kufunga
kufumbua. He became
Dari yake.
Hakuwa naamini me, William Samoei Ruto, deputy president. He never believed it. Now the son from Saikuru. And Bitok, I want to school you a little bit on politics.
I'm ready, sir.
Politics is a game of numbers.
Okay.
As I can tell you, Kalonzo is facing rebellion from two of his sitting governors. Mutua wants to be president. Professor Kivuta Kibwana wants to be president. They do not want to be president. They are demanding for a seat at the table.
Saying, listen to us.
Listen to us. You remember in the last election, the reason why, I like numbers. The reason why Jubilee won the election was because of invading certain levels and certain areas of NASA. Like when in Machakos alone, look at the numbers they posted. Look at the numbers they posted in Western. Look at the numbers they posted in Kisii and the adjacent county. Nyamira. You know those small numbers.
Migori,
the Kuria vote. Those small numbers here and there gives you the 50 plus 1.
They add up into something.
They add up to something. So what the son of Sekuru is doing, he's trying to consolidate his support base. Okay. So that when he comes to the table, I hear people saying that, now these people have left Raila. You people are dreaming. No one has left Raila. This is a ploy. Everybody knows that NASA is done. It served its purpose. People are moving forward. I can see, if you see, according to the meeting that Wiper had yesterday, they're saying we have left NASA, but we're asking Raila to join the new coalition.
Which one, Oka?
Well,
Oka.
If you remember in 2002, Ngilu, Kibaki, and Michael Kijana Wamalwa, they created their own formation much earlier. It was called NAK. Raila Odinga, Musalia Mudavadi, Nyachae, and Saitoti, they created something called the Rainbow within KANU. Didn't they form a much bigger coalition?
They did.
Absolutely. So I can tell you for a fact, everybody is trying to control their support base to ensure that it is intact, so that when they come to that table, then they can negotiate for something.
Whose table is that?
The presidency.
Who is the owner of the table?
That table, let me tell you.
Baba.
That table that you're talking about, it is the same table that brought Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto together.
Okay.
That table you're talking about is the same table that brought in Musalia Mudavadi, Wetangula, Kalonzo, Raila Odinga, and the governor for Bomet on one table. It is called the table. The way this one is called the taco. If you're not alive to that table, then you have a problem yourself.
What do you make of this, Ojwang?
This is depressing at many levels. Because it appears that what our Kenyan leaders have been fighting for is just inclusion, to be at the table.
Okay.
Not for any bigger purpose, any bigger ideal, or in even bigger articulation than simply to be at the table. And so as a voter, then it becomes depressing for me, because we know when somebody only fight for inclusion, whenever they get included, they are quiet. When they have not been included, they see all the bad things. But the moment they are included, see no evil, taste no evil, they are now singing the chorus and praising whatever, whether it's the government of the day or whatever evil is being meted on others. So as WEKE has put it very aptly, that all we are seeing here, and I think is practical, is pragmatic, is calling it as it is, that it is about inclusion. But I also think that even then, even that woman in the village that you never thought would leave the husband, that always threatened to leave, pack, and then unpack in the evening. One day,
They will leave.
as a joke, she's really gone. Gone?
Ni ya ukweli.
She's gone. No, huyu atarudi jioni. Hajakuja. So I'm seeing a situation where those were the days where the Swahili words were nascent and rare. And when you write insha, you will have a team of vocabulary that you write your insha and look for where to fit them. Tangu siku hiyo nikagundua kuwa kwa kweli usicheze na shilingi karibu na shimo ya choo. Itakapotumbukia utalia. Don't play with the coin next to
A pit
latrine. And that is what ODM is doing. If you win big. But if you lose, you can also lose big. You cannot be playing with your coalition partners, demeaning them, mocking them, dehumanizing them, laughing at them. And then, like that woman in the village where you're saying, we are in the Mali. One day you might actually find they have actually moved. Actually move. Because when you mistreat them, you make it easier for them to divorce and to go. And I'm seeing that when I see, for example, even Mudavadi appears to be done. He might come back out of sheer circumstance. But that love is dimming. In Mudavadi's own way, an emotional, non-articulative way. He has expressed it in so many terms, in his own non-articulative way, that no, Sirudi. Kalonzo, in his own way, have articulated. And you see, that is how even lions die. It is called death by 1,000 cuts. You can be so fierce, but leo ulipigana na hii chui ikakukwaruza tu ukamuua, but umebaki na hiyo cat. Kesho kutwa pia ukakutana na wild cat ukamrarua, jueni simba, but ile kugwara umebaki na hiyo. Kesho, so at the end of the day you find this lion dead, but there is no trauma or the event.
There's
where
no
you're
credit
saying,
of death.
Nini meua huyu? If Nani, the government autopsy guy who have refused to go down and do one on Kagogo, yule jamaa, if he comes and check what is the cause, there is no specific, but umekatwa umechanjwa mara nyingi. ODM didn't need to have Sifuna abuse partners who are wounded. You have moved to handshake. You have your cake and you are eating it. You are in the opposition but running the government. Much more power to you. But you don't have to turn back and say, why are you following me here? That was a blunder. And with that blunder, I remember what happened in 2007. when we were nini, and I remember we were somewhere in some house, and we said when the election results will be announced, if it find us in this nice sitting room, we can break a lot of things. So let us go to the field, and my brother, where there is no TV, there is no computer, there's nothing. So as we celebrate this Raila's win, we are safe. The best you can do is kick a rock or something. Of course, the rest is history. We came back one by one. So why? Kalonzo reached a point when there was a deadlock. He said, anybody but Raila. Alinionyesha Nyundo Mombasa, nikaonyeshwa Madarao Mombasa. If I have to choose a side now, that there is, I'm almost a tiebreaker to some extent. I would rather go to Kibaki's side and negotiate and be his running mate after the election than to be with support
Raila Odinga.
Raila Odinga. Why? Because you unnecessarily antagonize your partners unnecessarily, and so that mistake, I'm seeing it recurring, and you are wondering, can we ever learn that don't overdo things? And then I'm talking, and I think I have an authority and permission to speak as a Luo at least. That's the only thing I'm sure about. that we tend to overdo things. All right?
Yeah.
That if a Luo is not, if he's your enemy, mpaka kuonyeshe kuwa we. You know, somebody gave me an analogy that if you came to where Luos are eating, we are with Brian, and we don't like you be talk. We will say, kaa hapo, angalia venye tunakula na we ukuli. When you go to where other communities are eating but they don't like you, they will hide the food and say, hata si hatuoni hiyo chakula.
That's it, konja.
No, us we will want to observe venye ninakula.
We must show you.
We don't have to overdo things. And I think ODM made a few blunders in order to make their base look like they were not wounded. Because after handshake, we kind of lost hope. But to make sure that the base could know that the lion is still roaring, they started cannibalizing their partners, demeaning the partners. And then you find, kumbe 2 years later down the line, you really need them. And therefore, I am optimistic, but cautiously optimistic, because I'm seeing the body language of this woman who had refused to pack, that this time, she might be gone for real.
So you think ODM might not manage to reunite another partner?
You see,
like
when you are not bringing them together as ODM, you are bringing them because president is bringing them. Then of course you don't own the table.
Okay. Someone else.
Yes, and you are also brought.
You also visited the table.
You have also been convened.
Okay.
So when it is you have lost your bargaining power, that's not where Raila was, because Raila could reach out to these people and say, my brother, tufanye hii, na hii, na hii. Now, if he has to rely on President Uhuru's tour, including to Ukambani, to Western coming, to the state power and the state coercion actually, for him to talk to these partners, then that is a loss. And are you guaranteed it's going to work? Because the president is getting lamer and lamer as time goes towards the election. So that is not the spot any politician will have loved. Any politician will have loved where they still have what we call the trust bank. You know, trust is like money you deposit. And when it runs out, you have nothing to give. That President Raila will pick his phone, call into Kalonzo, and ask him, my brother, this is the arrangement we are doing. He's also admitting they are not there. So they are either united because we hate Ruto so much that we want to beat him. That is not a good place to be. And that does not bring euphoria. Euphoria come. You see, our people vote not because of threats. Mount Kenya votes out of threat. Our people vote because of celebration. You are sure the Mbaba has taken this thing, but just for formality, come and vote enda uoge vizuri in the lake, wait for the announcement. You will
panga
see
line.
who's voting. But if you tell them hii kitu ni so close, we are celebratory people. And so there is not much to celebrate because you have cut that rope and there is less room to maneuver.
Okay. All right. Okay. The same thing. Atwali, as Cameron told NASA, guys, unite or William Muto will wish you early in the morning. Let's look at the 50+1 question. And as the debate is coming in town, even all these alignments are moving around getting 50+1. I mean, where do you see it going? William Ruto said he's not going to form coalitions. He's forming coalitions with Aslas. I don't know who Aslas are. Said the common people. He's not going to form coalitions with tribal kingpins and all this. Will he manage this 50+1? And then again, with the break in NASA, which you said is not a break actually, Mudavadi is still in a corner lamenting. How do each party manage to get 50+1?
First of all, let me say this before I come to the 50+1. You know, I like Daktari's analogies. And also this one of a wife who, when you abuse them and they threaten to be going, that one day they will actually go.
Be gone for real.
And I want to agree with him that a wife will go. And I'll also just help him a little bit. The Daktari, this wife, even if you are a darling to her, but you do not bring anything on the table.
Wow.
You tell this wife, I don't have a job, but in 2017, I'm going to get this job. So the wife waits, feeds you, then they wait for 2017, you don't get the job.
Kaput.
So there was a problem, wife. Now, I have a better strategy. In this coming election, I'm going to get the real job, leave alone this one. You can only sell hope to a certain level. I can assure you, that wife will leave you. Merely because you're not bringing anything on the table. Merely because that job is not coming through.
Forthcoming.
The job is not forthcoming. You are a good guy who only sells hope to this guy. The NASA bandwagon, I will tell you for a fact, it was meant to separate, regardless of anything.
So who has been selling up? Raila has been selling up to this.
You see, when you come together for a coalition, the sole purpose is not to take photos. It's not because you are in love. It's not because you guys, you have affinity to each other. The only way you come together is for purposes of capturing power. If you do not capture power, then clearly you have to rethink. Where did we go wrong? In the last election, I can agree with you that there was a technical blunder on the part of NASA. They went through that election. The courts declared that that election was not done in accordance with the law. When they opted not to run, clearly, what were they achieving? So I can tell you for a fact that bandwagon was bound to separate. Now, when you separate, and by the way, for the record, Daktari, this separation, I don't know whether it is divorce. In the law,
is different,
we have separation and divorce. And a mere separation is not divorce. Sometimes the court allows you, between you and your wife, there's a problem. Live this way a little bit and cool off.
That is now called separation.
It's called separation. The divorce is permanent. I can see people saying, these guys have not divorced. They have separated. And when you separate, you look at things differently. You gave yourself time. You analyze yourself, analyze the strategies that you had, and see how to go forward. And by the way, for the record, this separation is very good for ODM. Because they signed a coalition agreement that says that Raila will not run for president again. So that particular agreement has been broken.
Null and void.
So now everybody comes to the table as a
never
unit.
A new bride.
A new thing. You cannot say, hey, there is this document that we signed. And I think that was a strategy. Now, moving forward, and I've been saying this, the new glue that will gel these people is Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta.
That is the one of the table.
You know, Raila Odinga has gone, this route for UDA, it has been tried, tested, it has failed to work. I can tell you for a fact, William Ruto, and I respect him, I respect where he's come from, I respect how he speaks, I respect his ability to mobilize, I respect his strategy, but I can, and his also ability to lie to Kenyans with a hard eye. I respect that. You know, and that is politics. I can tell you for a fact, his popularity as we speak is not even half of what Raila had in 2007. Raila mobilized the so-called 41 against 1. Was he president?
No.
Absolutely not. He tried again that in 2013, never worked. So let me tell you, that road that William Ruto is treading, it has been tried, it has been tested, and I can tell you for a fact, it has failed miserably. When you see Raila Odinga, you know him, the firebrand politician, quiet, strategizing. These days he just comments on Twitter and he gives sound reasoning in terms of different topical issues. My friend, it's because that road has been treaded. It is a very good thing. OJWANG will tell you, Doc, that popularity is a good thing. Popularity and winning elections are two separate things. So again, and I want you to listen to me keenly, the tacklers. The only way that this NASA brigade can win this election is when they come together. If they go through this election as separate entities, they are doomed. For William Ruto, some way to win this election, he needs the entire Jubilee vote that Uhuru got. If he gets anything less
than what Jubilee got,
then
is fried.
I can tell you for a fact, it is fait accompli. So strategically, if this NASA brigade plus Uhuru Kenyatta want to win this election, they have to work as a team.
Okay. So Uhuru is also running.
You know, the person who runs for president is one person. When Uhuru and Ruto ran, Ruto didn't run for any election. He was a mere poster. Uhuru Kenyatta is a factor. He will not run for president, but he is the glue that will gel these people. And you know the plus one that we talk about.
Yeah.
You know the plus one? Not the 50 plus one.
They count one twice.
They count one twice.
The system.
And if you can see the machinations that are happening even within certain quarters, which I will not mention.
Just mention.
No, I don't want to be arrested outside here.
At the tackle, you have immunity.
No.
This compound is immunized.
You know, if you know Brigadier Opande, go and ask him the machinations that are happening. So I can tell you for a fact, and make no mistake, Uhuru Kenyatta is one of the most brilliant, politically astute presidents that we've ever had in this country. What he's doing, if you're not seeing it, then there is a big problem.
With your eyes.
With your eyes. If you're not seeing what Uhuru Kenyatta is doing, then I think there is a big problem. What he's trying to do, and I will tell you very clearly, he's trying to create Mudavadi as the formidable force in Western. Now, they are the ones sponsoring the Coastal Party. Don't think that those guys have just woken up. He wants to create another force and bring it on the table.
Pwani Party.
Of a Coastal Party.
Yeah.
He's recreating Kalonzo Musyoka. Why do you think he went to Ukambani? Look at because he knew there was a rebellion and he's trying to push the governors to work together with Kalonzo. And let me tell you, Bitok, I respect William Samoei Ruto, as I've said. He is a factor, and anybody who thinks that he is not a factor in this country, then you're also daydreaming. The election that is coming up, mambo bado. Mambo inakorogwa saa hii.
Ni watu wako jikoni.
Sasa ndio mambo iko jikoni. Inakorogwa, and at the center of it is Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta.
Yeye ndio mpishi.
Ndio anapanga mambo. Yeye ndio chef, yeye ndio anaweka kuni, yeye ndio anapuliza moto. My friend,
yeye ndio akona mkebe ya chumvi.
That man underestimate him at your own peril as to cost and consequences.
Wow. Ojwang.
This is painful to watch. It's like an accident scene. Something tell you look away, but you are like, let me see one more time.
Acha nione kidogo.
Because one, I know that democracy and election is the mother's milk to our democracy elections. I see a very interesting pattern. I'm seeing that whichever side the ability to make the best out of difficult situation that my friend WEKE and his mentors find themselves. I'm seeing a lot of ability. You know, it's like when we were students and the teacher moved us from sitting in front and we were put at the back. We made the best out of it. And we say, kwanza hapa ndio who is sitting. Until everybody look at the back and said, kumbe those who are sitting in front are foolish. But that is after we found ourselves not allowed to sit at the front. Okay. Because every politician will have multiple plans, but will not wish to plan without the people. Okay. You might be forced to, but you cannot, as a strategy, say that I'm going to go with this election without numbers, but it doesn't matter. Because I have other better plans. But secondly, I look at the situation of what a president can give. I do not underrate, and I take the warning clearly. And I think you as Tackle, and I see a lot of people are very excited about DP's candidacy here. What you're saying is also sobering, that one, popularity. Raila spelled popularity in this country. That is factual. And you know it's hard to argue with facts. But at the same time, the idea that presidents cannot be defeated is also not totally accurate. Because we saw what happened to Moi. Of course, we can say that was overwhelming. And if it is overwhelming, we have been told if you had to beat a government, you must beat them so big, right? That they cannot...
So badly.
Yes. But if it is so close or razor close, then they close that gap. But at the end of the day, I'm thinking that in this chessboard, where is the maths? And WEKE have articulated very good maths for Ruto. He has part of West Central, according to him, which is true. But it appears that he might, if he does not get all votes that Jubilee had, then he might not be in a good position. That is DP's maths. Okay. But he's falling into a trap that I've fallen before into. The trap that we easily fall into. That we say, ukisha toa ya Ruto, anything that remain belongs to Raila. That is our very easy way of doing maths. So you give, when I used to analyze, we simply say Kajiado, hiyo pea Raila. Nini? So we do the maths by subtraction. We say, okay, toa hao Wakikuyu wachache wao watakufa na Ruto.
Wala
Give him
babaki
half.
na baba.
Mpe Rift Valley. The rest of Kenya ni ya baba. And that is a very convenient math until election happen. That it's not that simple. So even now, I'm seeing the narrative is, okay, give Ruto his. The rest that is remaining belong to NASA, belong to Baba, belongs to Uhuru. I don't think so. Because when I look at DP's Nini, and if to be honest, but part of the glue that really brought impetus in NASA was the anti-Kenyatta. The anti-Kenyatta. Because of the history, because of the domination, because of the land factor like cost. If DP now is there, you don't have that anti-Kenyatta glue. That, for example, pulled cost against the Kenyatta candidacy. That pulled people or other marginalized community against the Jubilee candidacy to Raila. But that is why DP also make a few inroads, not many, but a few, like in Coast and Western. The so-called deep state,
The plus one.
the plus one, the counting twice, and you see this is where now this is the accident scene, the scene of the accident, because to see WEKE to settle and say, if we are to win this thing, state come through, I'm all yours. That is not a good place to be. Even though he's putting it like, you know those people who describe hell so beautiful that you want to ask, where is that hell? I just want to peep in. I saw somebody advertise this is mortuary, that it's so good that you wish you were dead. When you see how they have put the suit on this person, when you see the flowers, you are like, wow, I wish I was the one lying in that coffin. But we know that that is not the first place you want to be. Me think that the president have power, but that power is dwindling. You see, Raila's vote was not Mount Kenya. The dilemma or trilemma the president is facing is this. You are one of the richest people in central Kenya. To be honest, they have developed love-hate relationship with the family. We like you, you are Kamwana. We don't like you, you shook hands with Ragira. And you see, over in some quarters, when kids misbehave and they don't eat very well and they lose appetite, you tell them, do I call Raila? And then they gobble that food very fast. So here is the President Kenyatta. They shovel it to their mouth very fast. Hey, nani njoki? Ita Raila. The kid will shovel that food with a spade to his mouth. Nimemaliza. Win-win. So, the president challenges this. And that's why it's not as simple. Do you want to follow your people, these ordinary people, who look to find a place for DP? Or follow your own heart? But after that, are you going to still manage to be friendly and friends in central Kenya? Are you willing to pay that price? That the Kikuyus look at you and say, this is the person who forced us. And tear gassed us a few if necessary. The way Luos often are tear gassed. You have your business there. You will not be in power forever. You have your farms there. You have your relatives there. Do you want to antagonize your people to an extent that there is a clear demarcation? This is the president, this is their people, they have gone this other way, and you are not part of us. And to what extent is it worth paying? And that is the dilemma. That is why presidents have been hesitant to, for example, introduce Raila to Central Kenya. That is why he has, when he made that big declaration and went to a vernacular radio, and we thought he was going to read rioting orders, he simply mellowed. And you know, the lawyers and the people who have seen a cockfight know this. WEKE. You see a big cock. Do you see how they stage when they want to fight?
Sema jogo. Sema tu jogo. Sema you see a big jogo.
They put their hair standing. They look scary. And you are like, wow. Then wakianza kidogo, unaona hii imetoka na mbio, unasema kumbe ni manyoa tu. So I'm seeing a situation where president is mounting, standing.
Simba tanguruma.
And you see the manyoa, sema, hey. And I saw that in Kiambaa. Then when it starts, like kumbe ilikuwa ni manyoya tu. And so whether the president will be willing to go against maybe the masses in Central Kenya and to force his way with an alternative path at the risk of the family business, of being Kamwana, of being part of the community, might be too much of a price. And if he does not do it fully, if he does it even halfway, then he might not deliver what Brian is anticipating.
Okay. So what do you think, very quickly, Ojwang, maybe in very few words, then, given WEKE has defined the role of the president in the unity of these politicians, then what is his role in the transition of power?
That role. That role, of course, this is, you know, when you hear words like this is Africa, that is somebody who has given up. When you hear words like, but they also have reason, and there is good history to it. I don't think it is just out of nowhere. But the role of the president, the true role according to the Constitution is that, I don't know whether they have a role in the handing over, but it is very minimal. That is the legal. But the factual is that they have a role. But at the end of the day, what people have proved over and over again is that as the president, that role is to serve Kenyans and serve them well. But if you are the problem to Kenyans, you cannot again be the solution. I think that is logical. You cannot be my problem and be my solution at the same time. Okay. So he has to make up his mind. Is he the problem? And some Kenyans think he is. And if he's the problem, he cannot conveniently again be seen by those Kenyans as the solution. Who is crafting? Because the question is, how come all of a sudden, after you have done whatever you want, 9 years down the line, all of a sudden, you too imekuja all of a sudden, you now see leadership in this kina Raila. You now see leadership in crafting this thing. And people ask, what is in it for you? Okay. And as they ask that, if they find that it is not genuine, and they easily can find that, then you find that you cannot create momentum.
All right. Back to you, Brian. And bunga la mwenye pia iko wazi. Bunga la mwenye nambari ni 0779-800-010 au 0779-800-010. Bunga la mwenye iko wazi, unaweza piga simu nambari ni 0779-800-010. Bunga la mwenye is open. You can call in 0779-800-010. Now, WEKE, it's so convenient to discuss the numbers of the other person. Like you said, you know, William Ruto needs this, or he has only this. Some people have been arguing he only has 50%. But nobody's telling us about the numbers of the other people. Even the guys, you know, DM are saying, we're going to 50% peke. But not telling us how many percent. Is it
automatic
that zile zinabakingi zinakuanga sababu?
You know, First of all, when I listen to Daktari, I think he amuses me every time with his analogies. He's now saying that if you're part of the problem, you cannot be part of the solution. And I agree with him.
How many percent?
100%. You know, when I look at this UDA brigade, they're the same people who have been leading us. They said now we are doing transformation. For the first time in the history of this country, you have SGR. We are lighting houses. 1 mile, we are doing amazing. We've done I don't know how many kilometers of roads. Now they are the same people who are saying there's a problem. So they want to be part of the solution. You know, this Kenya is extremely dishonest. And I agree with the Daktari. All of these people are extremely dishonest. You have been in government for 9 years. Now you want to tell us the way now you have a new concept that you didn't have. You were the one calling the shots. The president was busy doing international trips. You are the one discussing everything. You are the one who was discussing policy, implementation. You'd call all the ministers and discuss and do what. Now you want to tell us again that there is a problem. Yes, we were in, but we were not in. And you told us that we re-elect you twice based on your development record.
Mara mbili.
Mara ngapi? Mbili. When a number of us decided not to go for election. Sahi wendo unataka kutuambia venye sasa wewe ndio master. Sasa wacha. Sasa ndio sasa. Sisi ndio tuko na maneno. You know, it is extremely dishonest. Na sisi wa Kenya sengine hata tutakuwa wajinga sana.
Acha tusikie mwananchi hapa.
And we are buying.
Wacha waka laini alafu turudi kwako. Jambo. Bunge la mwananchi.
Jambo tena.
Fire headphones weke na Juan. Haya, tuanze tena jambo. Bunge la mwananchi.
Good morning, Jared.
Good morning to you. So am I speaking to?
This is Martin from Kikuyu.
Martin Goni Kikuyu. Mambo?
Mzuri sana.
Leta habari.
Unajua mi saa zingine huwa tunacheka and I'd like to pass a greeting to both the people who are in studio. Dr. Ojwang. It's always nice to have him in studio. And also hi to Brian WEKE. It's always laughable when people say that Uhuru is a very good craft in terms of politics in Kenya, while all he has been doing is blundering left, right, and center. You cannot say that you're a good politician when in the first place you have left your region with no party because Jubilee is dead. So how are all these people who are on the Jubilee ticket going to be in 2022? When you come to in terms of his administration, you can see how it has been run. With starting a war with your deputy, who has influence, that was a bad move. So that's another failure on his side. And then in terms of the numbers, you know, people like to underestimate Ruto. The thing is this: he doesn't need to get. He's happy that Mount Kenya is split because when Mount Kenya is together, it's a very dangerous region. But when it's split, it becomes useless. It becomes like Western Kenya. So what Ruto now can do is get a vice president from another region and get 50 or 70% from Mount Kenya to win the election. You see? And when you talk about numbers, Raila is not going to get anything in Western Kenya once somebody like Ruto gets a vice president from there, because they're going to vote to the man. That is the thing. When you go to Coast Province, Ruto is camping there. When you go to Eastern Kenya, Ruto has a couple of MPs there who are supporting him. When you go to every region, this person has people. How are you going to say that he's going to be defeated? And when you talk about the deep state and state machinery, why was it not used in Kiambaa? Why did they let the president fail in his own budget? So you see, these are some of the things that are.
So there's no plus one, like what I say. There's a plus one call system.
These are things that have already been propagated, but they are not there because according to this current constitution that we have and the IBC Act, the voting the polling station number is the last, is the final number. So you cannot alter it. If you want to alter it, you have to alter it at the polling station. So it's going to be very hard for people to steal this election.
Okay.
And we have people who are always perennial losers, who can never agree that they have lost elections. You cannot say that you have won an election and you don't have majority number in parliament, you don't have majority governor, you don't have majority senator, you don't have majority MCAs. How can you be able to say that you have won elections? And then when you talk about this thing about reservation, it's very unfortunate that we are using our independent institution to play politics. I think we should allow this institution to be independent, beyond reproach, without the influence of politicians, so that they can be able to deliver to Kenya. But if we continue using politics to use politicizing using our independent institution, we are going to fail in the fight against corruption. Thank you.
Okay. Asante sana Martin Ngoni. We appreciate your contribution. That is Martin Ngoni from Kikuyu. Anasema +1 ya weke ni sinema. Bunge la Mwananchi 0779-800-010 o 779-800-010. Karoki wa Masi kwa sema Robert Soita anasema through very dishonest Douglas Osinyo. Weke anasema makofi kwa weke. Karoki wa Masi, weke so much obsessed with UDA should wake up to the reality that even Raila is suffering from the disease of changing tunes. Okay. Nani mwingine hapa? Ayub Onyango, wake up my friend from Jerusalem. Those days, wake up to the realistic things have changed politically. Uhuru cannot achieve much. Linda Korira, I can see you all there from diaspora. Jerudi Sokongo, the question OJWANG is asking the president already answered long time. He said he's going to choose the right way and not the easy way. Okay. Yes, but the president has never introduced Raila in his backyard. He instead went and introduced him in Kisumu. Steve Wood says, can you ensure if there's no colonialism and politics slavery in Africa, does Africa have true democracy? OJWANG is trying to defend what he doesn't believe in. That's why he's struggling to find words. Okay. Kerry Alvin, General Iguna. Iguna mfanya nini? Mwenda sawa Santa Balosi, I can see. All right. I think those are the comments I can see. Zingine hapo ni chat mnakuwa naye within yourselves. But I'll try to read out the comments I can get. Let me see. If Uhuru watches the tackle and listens to workers' theories, he will roll on the red carpet of State House in laughter. Jeremy Sokongo, Dr. Jwang is really struggling today. What is the problem? Luzike Washira, morning, sorry, long post, but want to share it through but post with some of us. They don't know you paid for your degree in dollars. Grace Kamau, very true. That's on YouTube. Grace Kamau, very true. Well put. OJWANG, there is no way Uhuru will convince us in the mountain that now Raila is the man to take the mantle. No way. Grace Kamau, the guy is really struggling, contradicting himself very much without an answer at the end of the statement. But that Frank, to ODM, other NASA partners were Coupe, tick. But now the cow, ODM, has moved. Nobody knows what will happen to the thick. Maybe it will find another cow. But the 2022 battle is purely about personalities as opposed to issues. And on that basis, the only determinant of the outcome will be the fitting coalition formation. The millennial vote has no salt in it. Wow. Okay. All right. Eric, some of these guys speaks a lot of sense, ideal and very eloquent. Watching you from Vietnam. Good to see you guys from diaspora. Mash News, Kenyan politics. See no evil, hear no evil in your party. Only criticize everything in your the opponents do. Let's come up, Sana. Good to see you. Nito Nomoke, morning show. Iko sawa. Sante sana. Blessed Frank, morning to be talk. Good to see you, Frank. Take your tudia. Good morning. Cleophas Tenara Macau. Good morning. Tacklas live from Annex Eldoret. Duncan Jr. Good morning. Watching from Lubbock, Texas. There's a place called Lubbock in Texas. What? Duncan Jr. Maybe it's your son. Steven.
Come home, son.
Wacha kutafuta watoto
wenyewe. Anyway, guys, I think because of time, because we have 8 minutes, there's one last question that I would like us to look at. 2 questions, actually. One of them is CJ Matakome. CJ Matakome is seeking the dismissal of the case against President Uhuru Kenyatta on the refusal to appoint 6 judges. I don't know how this makes you feel. I'll start with you, WEKE, again.
Say that again.
CJ Matakome is seeking the dismissal of the case against Uhuru Kenyatta's refusal to appoint 6 judges. There was a case against that at the Court of Law now. CJ Matakome.
First, the viewers who have commented, I can see Martin Ngoni.
Yes.
And he's a very articulate young man, the way he sounds.
The way he sounds, so he is articulate.
I've not seen him, so I can only,
You've had him.
I can only talk about what I've had. There are people who can be fairly old, but their voice is young. Martin Ngoni has articulated a number of issues. And he's saying that in the event that the mountain is not united, then William Ruto will get a deputy from another area. Martin, I want you to understand this keenly. In William Ruto's strategy, I can tell you for a fact, and I know there are people who consult for him here. Doctor, I hope you're not one of them.
Hell no.
Well, maybe it's these boys. Maybe
It's the cameraman you are looking at.
So basically, William Ruto will definitely get a deputy from Central because that is where he's banking on a huge number of votes. So strategically, he will definitely get a deputy from Central. Now I can see James Mwenda saying that Uhuru Kenyatta only introduced Raila in Kisumu and not his backyard. And I want to agree with Mwenda. If only, and Bitoka, I want you to listen to me keenly. The people from Central, and when you hear Daktari saying that in Central, if a child has refused to eat, they are told, we'll call Raila. And they gobble the food very quickly. I can tell you, people in Central, they don't like William Ruto. They just hate Raila so much to the level where, because Uhuru hand shook, if I may allowed to use that word, Raila Odinga's hand, that is why you're seeing them rebelling. And I want to agree with Mwenda. What ought to happen is that Uhuru needs to go back to the people of Central and present Raila as the person he is and not a monster. And that is where the problem is. People have not been given a chance to know the real Raila. The other time when he was going to Central, when he arrived in Githurai, and you can see the crowds that were there, people want to see him. But they don't want to give him a chance to explain himself because they've been sold to propaganda so much. And I saw Kioni saying that even in the last by-election in Kiambaa, they started from zero. When they sat down and told the people of Kiambaa what the government has done, the people from Central were shocked because what they've been sold to, and which sells very well like hotcake, is propaganda. They know Raila is a monster, Raila is a bad person, Raila nemodo mwenda wazimu, Mogoroki, I don't know what. So, and Central Kenya, there are people who were born, grew up knowing that Raila is a very bad man. Doko, the other day we went to pay dowry in Kikuyu land, some place in Nyeri. There was a young boy who was like 5 years old. We had another Luo who was very dark. You know me, I'm a better Luo. I'm a pedigree Luo. Alikuwa anafanana OJWANG hivi. Do you know that boy was yeah. The guy was big like you, and the color. Do you know that boy sat for 7 minutes just staring at the guy? So we wondered what is happening. Yani the proceedings are continuing. The boy is just mesmerized. So he came straight and asked, Oyo ne mera. Yani uyu ni mjaluo. And you know, that thing is not really about Raila. Is anybody from Nyamoyaro Goro, whether from Western or Luo, anybody from that side is a very bad person in the minds of these young people. Yani that guy was so shocked. That boy, he came even and touched. If this is called Ochi, we call him Manchio. If this Manchio was a real human being, yani to him, he has never seen Mera. Yani Mera means Jaruo. Hajawahi ona. So that is what is happening to the minds of these young people. The older generation, they have seen Raila from when he started politics. And you can see there is acceptability for the older generation. But the younger generation, there is a lot of work that needs to be done. And let me tell you, if given a chance, let us allow everybody to present their agenda and see whether you'll accept or you will not.
Okay.
The frenzy that you're seeing is purely based on fear. And what we would call monsternomics. They have monsterized Raila Odinga. Now, what was the question that you asked as I finalize?
Martha Koome.
Martha Koome.
Martha Koome seeks dismissal of the case against Uhuru Kenyatta.
Yeah, you know, Martha Koome needs to decide whether she's the head of judiciary or she's in executive.
Tangaza.
No, she needs to decide.
Tangaza msimamo.
Yeah, because there is no way that when the process of appointment of judges, and the reason why I want Martha Koome to understand, the reason why we created a parallel system is to make our judiciary independent. If you remember the last dispensation, when Moi would wake up and fire a judge and appoint a judge and decide who becomes a judge, we created an independent judiciary because of the machinations that you're currently seeing in our country. Now that Rigathi Gachagua has been arrested, where has he gone to? The courts. When they were in government, they used to tell us, no, trample upon the judiciary, fight judiciary, cut the budgets. And we said, no, the only independent institution that will look at you as a human and your human rights is a judiciary. So when I know the case that is before court, Katiba Institute actually sued certain institutions, including Martha Koome. And then what they want is to force the president to appoint the two judges, and the failure to which they want the court to declare that they've been appointed. And that is actually the process. That is the law. How, again, as the Chief Justice, you come and say in your affidavit that the case lacks merit? We know very well that when the government fails to act, I remember when you remember the National Commission on Human Rights, when Kibaki failed to appoint the commissioners, I went to court as Brian Weke. You will find Brian Weke versus Attorney General. And Uhuru Kenyatta was forced to appoint the commissioners by court, and he did. And what we are saying, and really what Katiba Institute is saying, that in the event that the president, his role is merely clerical, to gazette them. So in the event that the president does not, then they stand appointed. And that is what the law is all about. When I see the Chief Justice again castigating, believe you me, I am extremely shocked. I have a lot of respect for Martha Koome. She was the chair of FIDA when I used to work for the Cradle, and I thought that she would bring sanity in the judiciary. It is very, very unfortunate if she's actually siding with the executive on this matter.
Okay. All right. That's how you.
Yeah, I think Martha Koome, it is a sad move. It's unfortunate because the role of the president is ceremonial. This is a matter. You know, when these other judges were arrested the other day, she said she has no report, and it's a matter before court, so she can't comment.
Surely.
All of a sudden, that principle have changed, and she's commenting, and she's even willing to, because the other time when judges were sworn in halfway, she said she just came to our office, being a normal day, she was told go to State House. As Brian Weke is saying, the judiciary order changed. Instead of horizontal accountability, it became vertical, it became horizontal. That's why JSC. So people don't report to the president and to the executive. People report to JSC because there was that independence created. And having realized how important the judiciary is, because judiciary is supposed to protect the sovereignty of the people. And the Chief Justice can tell her masters that the court is not there at their invitation. If you look at Article 1, it's the people who donate power to the executive is the same people who donate the power to the judiciary. She's clearly disappointing. And, at first I thought she's just a weak person. But I think she's not weak. She's being wicked. Because she's not even stopping at just being quiet. She's going all her way. We know that when the president refused to swear in Wasame in JSC, court declared that Wasame is a commissioner. Maybe not swearing in, but gazetting him and all that. That is the same thing that the Katiba Institute is now saying. So does she believe in rule of law, or she want to go run and be the governor of wherever? She needs to make up her mind. And we need to be fair and not cut people slack because they used to be good people. I'm tired of good people who have become bad people. So that the only thing remains that I used to be good. You are X to goodness. Right now, you are very bad. And she needs to have that clear, that she is becoming a disgrace within 2 months in the judiciary. And at some point, the advocates and the workers who believe in justice and the temple of justice will just start telling him, pack up and go with Uru to whether Gatundu or wherever, because you cannot again be a problem and a solution, or be your own problem and your own solution at the same time. Thank you.
Okay. All right. It's been a pleasure having you guys. I don't know if you have any parting tackle of the day.
I'm actually shocked that it is 9:30.
Yeah, it is. I told you.
I didn't notice when the time was moving.
Time flies when you're here.
I think it was a great show. I'm happy to come back here again. And I can see there are very positive comments. Comments that sometimes others we need to work on. Others, really, we need to just take them as they are. So thank you very much, and I'm glad to be here. What I'll just leave the tacklers with is that it's still very early. In terms of who will be the president of the Republic of Kenya.
Bado ni mapema.
Ni mapema.
Very early in the morning.
As mapema.
Hata hajafika saa 6.
Bado.
Lakini umesikia kuna harufu ya maragwe inanukia pale jikoni.
Harufu itanuka na ujui kama maragwe itaungua. Inaweza nukia sana but ikose kutoka ikiwa imeiva. Inaweza ungua hapo ikiwa inaiva.
Sawa, ngoje wasubiri.
Game bado.
Mchezo bado.
We're not even in halftime.
OJWANG.
No, I agree with Brian. It's too early. And even the burden of being the leading candidate is such a big burden that we're out those candidates. There is chance to make more mistakes because everybody is watching. But I think that Kenyans should not lose hope in their constitution. Should understand that we are the people. Penyo wacho. When OJWANG stood face to face with our colonizers, and when he found the Rachuonyo's cows being taken as taxes, and he stopped at the head of herd of the cows and said, "Where are these cows going?" And he was told the colonizers want them. And he said, "They are not going. Our cows are not being taken." And when he was asked, "But you spoke as who?" He said, "Penyo wacho." The people have said. And the people will have their word. My role, and those who believe in me, who have tears in the face of injustice. I don't know, WEKE, if you still are able to shed tears in the face of injustice, or your tears is gone. But you see, he is somebody who takes care of a lot of widows. This guy will shock you when you get to his life. He's more organized than what you see, guys.
He looks organized.
No, and very giving.
He's even more organized than this.
Very giving, very giving, very fathering a lot of people, or not very young, but fathering, mentoring them, and supporting them. And I think in his own way, yeye ni shujaa. It's only that of late he took that role in Shamba la Wanyama, we say, of Mkimwa. You know, Mkimwa used to come and say, ndugu wapendwa, mumesikia kuwa the snowball now sleeps in the bed with human beings. He has a blanket. Ndugu, all animals are equal, but others are more equal. And you have to understand that uongozi si kazi rahisi. If he wants to sleep in a comfortable bed, he need to sleep so that he can wake up and guide us. Tactics, brothers. If you read that book, Shamba la Wanyama, tactics. Mkimo. Kwa hivyo muelewe, mukisikia the donkey ya choti, nani amepeleka kwa choti, sijui mnini, mchinja farazi na nini, the donkey who used to work very well, muelewe kuwa, these are small sacrifice. Kwa vile kiongozi anafaa alale kwa kitanda na mashuka, ama ndani na mashuka, ili aongoze. Ya umesikia na kunywa whisky kidogo kama binadamu. Tulisema wanyama as revolutionary hatukunywi whisky, but muelewe. And that is what I find, that Brian has come to explain that mkisikia ODM tunasema sasa hata mambo ya kutiaga zua kidogo si mbaya. Muelewe uongozi bwana, deep state. You can't go there without deep state. Mkisikia tunasema kuwa mmesikia hiyo mambo ya sijui police brutality, it's a little bit exaggerated. To be honest, wa polisi ni watu wanafanya kazi kwa bidii, wanalinda watu. So that role Brian have aptly taken. And I know he will drop it because he's somebody who walks with Holy Spirit. He's somebody who God will give better vision, and he will realize that hii kazi sio yangu.
Unajua
the people have said you need to stop being
talk. Unajua nilikuwa nashangaa. Daktari is praising me.
Wewe alikuwa anatafuta mali ya COVID. Na amekuset service.
Kama anaset mpira, unajua in politics tunafunzwa kabla upige mtu, unampapasa mzuri. Ndio sio ndio kupiga
ana habari.
Unajua me have been very consistent. And that is the reason why you can hear when I see the judiciary is being manhandled.
You're not mincing your words.
I'm not mincing my words. When I see certain state organs being misused, you know, if there is anybody who has paid the price, is the Luo community. You remember when Raila was coming in, when he was away somewhere, many of our young people were killed. You remember in post-election violence in Kisumu and Kibra, many of our people died. So there are things we cannot joke with. And we cannot be gatekeepers for anyone. We just look at the facts as they are. I remember when Dindi Nyoro kept on writing that we need to purchase more tear gas, put more money in the lorries and the tear gases so that we can tear gas all these people. You know, power is temporary. And we are alive to that fact. That power is extreme.
Now you're even more alive.
We are more alive. If William Ruto, who are Rosie, wearing the same shirt and the tie and the nini, na story na kipindi na uongo na nini, sasa hao ndo sasa wanaanza kufurugana. Believe you me, power is very, very temporary. And we are alive to that fact. And that is the reason why we will always stand for justice.
Okay.
Yeah, it does not matter who or where we are. we will definitely be standing with justice. Kwa sababu leo tumeona uko ndani, kesho una hata network.
Leo hii ndio nyinyi ndio mnapapaswa. Siku ile mlikuwa mnalimwa.
Wacha hata kupapaswa. Unajua hata mimi I listen to propaganda. You say ati Raila and ODM are in government. Which government? Which positions do they have? Government, my friend, ni uwe na flag inaingia kwa ground kule kwetu Mbita.
Federa.
Government ni ukue mahali, the table where decisions are being made. Hapana hii ingine mnaenda kukaa nyuma hapo mkienda kanisa mkipiga picha. That is not government.
Okay.
Government ni akina William Ruto mahali wako.
Hiyo ndio serikali.
Hiyo ndio serikali.
Haya.
Serikali hapana kipindi ama story ile tunasikia. Ni uwe ndani.
Ndani.
Kama mnataka kusema tuko kwa serikali, bas, vunjeni baraza la mawaziri, weka sisi huko ndani, then you say we in government. Lakini hii story mnatupigia hapa tukiwa nje ati udaku ya serikali ni ndio kwa hapana.
Ni urongo hiyo.
Story.
Haya, twende ununue chai. Asante. It's been a pleasure having you guys. Thank you so much for the guys who have been on Facebook. We really appreciate. Pole kidogo leo nimefinyilia bunge la mwenyeji kwa sababu ya wakati. Lakini kesho bado ni siku. Bunge la mwenyeji litakuwa na masaa yake ya 30 minutes ya bunge tuweze kusikiza mnasemaje. Lakini kwa leo poleni sana. Hadi kesho ningependa kuona kwenye siasa Wednesday. Tuonane kesho kwenye siasa. This has been the State of the Nation. Thank you for the contribution you've been having on Facebook and also on YouTube. Thanks for the guys also who have been on Twitter. Keep sharing the content and we really appreciate. For the guests who have been here, the panelists, asante sana Weke. We hope to see you again very soon. If you're time OJWANG. Asante sana kwa kuja. It's always a pleasure to have you here as well.
I love this show and I can die for this show.
Na unajua mjelewa akisema I die for the anaweza kufa ukweli.
Anaweza kufa ukweli. Until tomorrow, this has been a tackle and it ends now. We love you guys and bye-bye. See you on Siasa Wednesday. Take care.